Hi, welcome to this video lecture. So first, let's consider another topic, and that is history of mathematics, particularly Quipus of Inca. So I'm teacher Melai, and let's talk about the Quipus of Incas. Let's start by introducing who are the Incas. So actually, Mayan, Aztec, and Inca are ancient cultures of Latin America. So where do they reside? So looking at this figure, Inca between 1200s and 1535 AD lived in the part of South America, extending from the equator to the Pacific coast of Chile. So these are the figures of cupus in different sizes and different colors. So what is cupus or cupu? So cupu or kipu is a nata record that used by Incas to keep records and to communicate information. So what are the records? So it can be dates, statistics, accounts, and it even represents key episode from traditional folk stories and poetry. So aside from being a memory aid, it is also a narrative records. So these are the examples of method of tying knots. So as you can see in this figure, we actually have here the numbers that it corresponds. So as you can see, for example, in number one, so it's a one knot, so it corresponds to one. And then this is two knots, so it corresponds to number two. And three knots, it corresponds to number three, and so on. And then we actually also have here with us the different types of knot. So we have the long knot with four turns, the single knot, and the eight knot, or a knot that looks like number eight. So this is an example of the number that it corresponds and our knot. So as mentioned earlier, this is the main chord, and then the number of knots represents the number that it correspond. But the Cupus use base 10 or Incas use base 10, which means, so for instance, if we will now determine for the value that it corresponds, so let's consider the first figure, it's 130. From bottom to top, it represents ones, tens, hundreds, and so on and so forth. So for instance, for the first figure, we have 1, 3, and 0. So from the bottom, this is multiplied by 10 raised to 0. And then the second one, 10 raised to 1. And the top is 1 times 10 raised to 2. So the number that corresponds to our first record is 1 times 10 square is 100. 3 times 10 is 30. And 0 times 10 raised to 0 is 0. So which means, so this is 30. So which means it is equal to 130. Now let's take a look at the second one. So we have values 1, 1, 2, 2. So again, if this will be multiplied to its base 10, so it's 10 raised to 0 times 10 raised to 1 and 10 raised to 2. So the equivalent number is 2 times 10 raised to 0 is 2. So any number raised to 0 is equal to 1. So 2 times 10 raised to 1 is 20. 1 times 10 square is equal to 100. So it corresponds to 122. Now let us consider the last number. So for the last number, we have 1 and 3. So 3 times 10 raised to 0 and 1 times 10 raised to 1. So this is 10. 3 times 10 raised to 0 is 3. So the number that it represents is equal to 13. So the tie here or the cupus here represents different objects also. So for example, it can be a representation now of the number of ships owned, the number of wealth of the Incas and others. Okay, so let me also show you the references of these informations. And of course, thank you for watching.